Back.
But they said I was watching Land of the Dead with the commentary on, and they said that it's fun because the studios love the fact that George Romero is like the godfather of zombie movies, and they love to exploit that. Every time you see a new Romero movie, it's like from Night of the Living Dead creator, whatever. Yeah. But they don't ever want him to do his movies. They're like, well, let's do another Night of the Living Dead. They want him to basically just rehash the same shit he's already done, but don't rehash it the way he's done it. They want him to be like, well, make it newer, make it faster, make, crazier, bloodier, explain more shit. They don't want him to just do his movies, and I think that's kind of a shame, really. And I think that's kind of John Carpenter too. I think that's kind of why he went into hiding after Ghosts of Mars, because
underrated movie, I will say.
I loved it. I thought it was great. Now the new one he just did, The Ward, I didn't like it. All this kind of stuff.
I've seen it.
Don't waste your time.
Okay.
No, I mean, I think that's the thing. It's not just them. I mean, Toby Hooper kind of runs into that a lot too. We talked about him last week with Poltergeist. How everybody, it's not, to me, it's not even a Toby Hooper movie. It's a Spielberg movie. Even though Spielberg just produced it, let's face it, it's his movie. And now once again, I'm not gonna with Romero. I love his style, and I love Carpenter's. I don't care about Toby Hooper's style one bit because I don't really think he has a style per se. I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Don't get me wrong. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Top 10 horror movies of all time. It's brilliant.
Super low budget.
It's another really shit budget movie that just became like a classic. But since then, can you really think of too many Toby Hooper movies? You're just they're brilliant. No, exactly. He did the one the serial killer. It's based on a true story where the serial killer had an alligator in his bar, and whenever people would go disappearing, they question him about it, but there was never a body because he would hack them up, throw them into the pit. And they did a movie based on that. I haven't seen it. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna watch it one time, and I think I watched I don't know, Ghostbusters or something. I don't know, it's something.
Yeah.
Something that's completely different. That that's how interesting. I don't know. It's Hooper I'm just not huge on it. I think he's on those one-hit wonders for me, anyways. Now, I don't want to piss off the Hooper fans or Hooper himself. I'm sure he's watching. He's definitely watching. So, but I guess in closing that two great movies, and they came around the time. Well, I guess not necessarily Halloween because it was a good 10 years later, but especially Night of the Living Dead though, it came around a time where, and I will say this right now, it definitely changed horror forever. This was the movie that did just fucking, it became totally different. I'm not saying there weren't others that was kind of leaning that way, but this was the one that said, fuck it, we're doing, and I don't think it was mean to. I think they said, we're going to do a movie that we would like to do, and
and they didn't, especially again, for 1968, they didn't pull no punches, you know what I mean?
No, they really did.
And like you mentioned before, everybody dies.
Yeah. Downbeat ending. They show on-screen cannibalism. At the time, now zombies, we know that they bind to you and all that shit. There was no rules for zombies back then. So when you're watching, you don't even know they're zombies. I don't even think they don't say it in the movie. I know that for a fact. I don't even know when they coined the term zombies for this movie. But either way, there's scenes where they're just eating fucking flesh. It blew up in the truck. They're just chowing down on it on screen. Now once again today, you're just well, what's so shocking about that? I'm this is 1968. All right, this was back when Vincent Price was conquering the world with his Roger Corman B budget movies. There's nothing bad there. I'm not trying to bash that, but but it is it was just a different era altogether. And I think this was the one. I think it was around this time that the Hammer movies started getting a little more gruesome. Started getting showing. I think it was at the time they started to get a little edgy, show a little more cleavage.
I know
this was the one that kind of pushed in there.
You don't want to get too off topic, but Hammer definitely gave the Universal monsters some balls.
Oh yeah. No, they definitely did. They took an old tale and they definitely brought up sex and violence all the way with those guys, and of course we want to thank Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing for that. Even though they wasn't really in charge of that, they're the faces of it. So I give my thanks to them. Not the Hammer execs.
But another thing about Night of the Living Dead that I like, I actually don't think that it's still to this day ever been explained, and that's I don't know, but nobody knows why they were there, how they got there, what caused it. There was some speculation in the movie, what
the orbit, the satellite from Venus.
Satellite,
came back through. They do speculate on it, but it's never actually given.
Return of the Living Dead gets talks about the the toxic waste.
The barrels, when they kind of sprayed out or whatever.
Some military thing, but for the most part, it's never really ever been explained why the dead are alive.
Yeah. And really the thing with the going back to Halloween for a second, I guess when it first came out, same thing. We didn't know why Michael was evil.
Yeah.
He just fucking wanted to kill on that block. He'll kill along the way if he has to, but when he gets home, he's just going to butcher the block. So, so yeah, it's two low budget movies, and once again, I mean, if we ruined this for you, that's your own fault. You should have already seen these. So
yeah.
Well, man,
because I think that only horror fans should, not only horror fans, but big horror fans should be watching this. And
yeah. I mean, horror fans should have already seen this, and these are movies that kind of they cross that line. Of like, because I mean, like, Jaws is one of those movies where you don't have to be a horror fan to enjoy Jaws.
Yeah.
But it is one of the movies you should watch. I think Halloween and Night of the Living Dead should be on that list.
If you're new to the genre,
these are definitely the ones to test the waters on.
I don't care if you're 7 or you're 17 or you're 77. If you're new to the genre, these two movies definitely should be essentials. Don't go. I mean, you can, but don't go watch anything. Don't go watch new horror movies and stuff. I mean.
One thing, I had a friend, or still have a friend. I keep using "had" for some reason. I have a friend. He's hates horror movies.
Friends that I've had.
But he hates horror movies. But he would be like watching like straight to video shit movies that I wouldn't even fuck with half the time. And I'm like, well, that's why you hate them. Like, you're not watching the good stuff. Like, I mean, I would say watch even if you don't like it. Like, what your opinion is on like Exorcist or Rosemary's Baby. Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Night of the Living Dead, whatever your opinion is after you watch it, whatever. But watch them first. Like, these are like the core movies that I think you should see, And, once you've got like a nice little base there, once you got a nice little, foundation, then you can kind of build up on what you like. If you kind of like the vampire stuff, hit the vampire movies. If you like the zombie stuff, hit the, if you like the Halloweens, watch the rest of them.
And you got these people, though, that are, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Night of the Living Dead. They're all
the same.
Mainstream. They're all well known. Why don't you watch this and that? This obscure movie from 1957. Shot and there's a reason why these movies are mainstream and have stood the test of time.
And become household names.
For fuck's sake. Night of the Living Dead is pushing 50.
Yeah. And it's still considered, to this day, you talk to most zombie fans, it's this one right here.
There's a reason, though, that these movies are mainstream because they're badass.
Yeah,
they are great movies.
There's a reason that they're being remade time and time again. And not just remade, but just copied and, imitated, ripped off.
And I'll be honest, when I first saw movies like this, they weren't... It wasn't like something that it was hyped up to me by friends and family. It was just something that I came across either late night on television or my introduction to horror period was local, and it's if you could see my tears.
It's welling up right now. Yeah.
Local mom and pop video stores.
Yeah,
so you walk in.
Yes.
They got a wall of horror movies.
Yep.
And you go in there on a Friday night, after school maybe, with your mom and dad, and mom and dad's renting some kind of new whatever.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Or something like that, Pretty Woman or something.
Yeah, it's always something.
And they'll give you a couple of bucks. Go grab you something to watch,
And I always gravitate toward that section.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
And I would grab the horror movies and, and I would gravitate more toward these movies that had, I don't know, I guess I could say go for like the flashy box art.
Yeah, when you're that age and you don't really have like the internet to tell you.
Yeah.
You do judge the book by its cover, and the cover's really cool.
And in like 1988, I'm sitting there looking at something, and I'm seeing like all these movies with, say, a hockey mask on the front.
Yes.
I'm like, man, what is this? Awesome,
Exactly.
I gotta check these out, And I've definitely was burned a few times.
Oh yeah, we all been there. Yeah.
And I'll tell you the truth. Probably in nowadays, parents would probably be sent to jail for this kind of stuff because I was scared to death every time I watched one.
Oh. Yes.
Didn't want to go to bed. Didn't want,
Gave
but
me
you know what? Next week, I was right back there in the same fucking video store.
Exactly. That is exactly what I was like, dude. The Shining scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Dude, those two dead little girls. Dude, we had a little like farmhouse. We didn't have a farm. We had a farmhouse. I had the only bedroom downstairs. That's fucked up for one. My brother and my parents upstairs. I had the only, and whatever.
All by yourself.
At night, I'm sitting there, dude, and I won't close my eyes. I know if I already open them, that dead lady from the bathtub's gonna be coming after me, or the two girls will be at the end saying, "Come play with us, Danny." That would be freaky as shit, dude. Fuck that. But guess what? Next weekend, I watched it again.
Yep.
I was a glutton for punishment, and you know what?
And I hope I hope that there's maybe this is too young for these new generation people, but I think I hope that there's 10-year-old kids out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And
well, I think there's actually more of a. I think
going to Red Box or whatever. I don't know what the hell they're doing these days.
Well, I mean, I think now, if there are, there's definitely, young horror movie fans, I'm assuming, but then you get the internet, which I think would be even better because now you kind of got, like, you can hear other reviews, and I'm not just trying to plug this show, I'm talking about just, in general, go to, like, dreadcentral.com or besthorrormovies.com or, Vault of Horror, whatever, check them out and be like, well, this movie, and you can just download it. I'm not condoning that, by the way, because that's illegal and that's wrong. But, you check it out. You got more access today than we had when we were younger, know? So, I don't know. I kind of like to think that there are kids who not only are looking at the pornography on the internet, but they're also hitting up the horror movies as well,
Yeah.
The really, bloody, gory stuff, the stuff in the 80s that, like, the censorship people was trying to take down, and that's the good stuff right there. But, yeah. That's our rant right there. So, well, you know what, man? I think it's about time to wrap it up. I think we kind of hit everything we can when it comes to the Halloween or Night of the Living Dead. At least we hit everything we could in this small segment.
It was definitely a very wonderful discussion on horror in general. And
it really was. We kind of hit a few topics there, and I'm really glad. That's what we got to do on this kind of show. We got to kind of expand the base a little bit.
And I didn't want to get you off track any, but I do appreciate you having me around.
Man, I appreciate anytime you want to crawl out of that grave, whatever, swing on by. You are welcome anytime, man. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for coming.
And it goes both ways. My grave is always open.
Oh, well, hey, open invitation to the open grave. I appreciate that, man. So, all you guys out there, thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next week. So, we're out of here.